Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Today we have some coffee because I actually have some leftover creamer. When I go to visit my family or am with my family, I often have coffee instead of tea because they all drink coffee and I just find it hard to, just travel with loose leaf tea. If you guys have any suggestions for that, let me know. I do sometimes take tea bags, but oftentimes just also I just feel more tired because I'm around a different personality environment, which for the family members watching, do not take it the wrong way. It's just I think it's you're also just in a different, whereas you're not in your home. So I am drinking some coffee because I'm trying to use up some creamer. And I wanted to just try to get something done today as well as check my garden per usual. I did that yesterday and I actually have a lot of miniature peppers ready. If you've been watching my Instagram, you will have seen that I had a lot of miniature peppers ready, as well as my herbs had overflown because a lot of rain here, as well as I also have some just different things lots of peppers that I need to use up, just different types of peppers. So I'm gonna make tofu scramble this morning to try to help use some of that up, and I might even just throw some in my another thought I had was to throw some in my actual sandwich. I also had another idea, and let me know what you guys think of this. I had another idea, which was to do rice noodles or soba noodles, and you make just kind of a, not necessarily pho, but you do basically a ramen type soup. And I did not end up getting stuff at the grocery store for it, but it was definitely an idea I had. I also went to Costco while I was home, and let's talk about a couple of the things that I got. I got these Tipias. They are triple cheese flavored. I have not tried any of them, as you can see, but I am super excited to try them. I tried to avoid them at all costs, but I am really excited to try them. And I also have been really big on just having popcorn for dinner sometime, and I got a big bag of the Lesser Than Evil popcorn, and this is the butter flavor, and so I'm really excited to try this as well. And this is the Himalayan Gold, but it also is buttery flavored. And then I got, what else did I get? I know I got a few other things. I know my dad's wife got me some electrolytes because Gatorade was not working for me being outside and everything. And so I really wanted to, I ended up asking him for some suggestions, and then so there's this Tomb garlic dip, and I got that, and I don't know if I want to try that today or not, but we will definitely try that at some point. And I really didn't get a lot of things, I feel at Costco. I feel I did pretty well, but we will see how it goes. I also am reading The 5-Star Weekend right now. I started that while on my little beach trip, and it's good so far. I'm only about 11% in it, and it's good so far, but I'm definitely hoping it gets better. I love the main character's name. It's Hollis, and I like the name. That sounds like such a cool name to name your daughter. I don't know if I would otherwise, though. I'm definitely just interested to see how it goes because it's very like a creative idea. I also got some books. I got some just like summary books, and we're just gonna have to do like some hauls throughout this video. But I will see you guys in a little bit. I'm gonna drink my coffee, and I will see you guys while I am making my tofu scramble. We are working on making breakfast. I'm gonna do the tofu scramble. I've got some peppers. This one's definitely starting to look a little bad, but I'm gonna still use it because it'll cook in the tofu scramble. So since I'm making tofu scramble, I am using firm, but honestly, you can use extra firm too. I have done that before. I mean, I don't think people usually do it, but I think it's easy to still do that. I'm also throwing in some tomatoes and I love that this is a basic like 5-minute to 10-minute recipe that you can make, and I wanted to throw in some things from my garden as well as I am going to grab some herbs from outside just to make sure I can go ahead and grab some things. I do have like a lot of seeds that we probably should try to get out, but I'm throwing in some of these miniature bell peppers that I have not tried yet to see how they are. I actually might throw these back in the colander just to see if I can get the seeds out that way. And then I am using some of my peppers from the garden. I actually think that, so I'm hanging out with a friend tomorrow night, and I am thinking that I might try to, when I hang out with her, try to do, like, try to get some rice noodles or some sort of like, soba noodles or something, and see what I can do to help with kind of having like another way to use up some of these vegetables, because I do have a couple of other things that I'm doing this week for food, but I would still love to have like, like a Sunday night dinner or something like that is basically just meant to be the, kind of throwing in a bunch of the vegetables. My mom gave me all these tomatoes, and I personally love throwing tomatoes in, so I think that this would be a great way to do that. I'm also going to do these peppers because I think that peppers are a great way. I honestly, so I did not know that miniature peppers existed, so I'm going to put my composter over here. I don't know why, but sometimes I just have no idea why these composters, I feel like you don't always know that, it's crazy. You also throw nutritional yeast, which is basically supposed to be like your cheese, as well as you can do you do turmeric, garlic powder, and a little bit of non-dairy milk. I guess you could do regular milk if you wanted to, if you are not vegan, or not vegetarian do sometimes still eat dairy, so take that back. I would love to find black salt and try it, but I do not have black salt, so I just don't worry about it. I was pretty slow on the, getting going this morning, but that's okay. That's how it is sometimes, where just like, I'm so slow. I also brought, if you guys have tried the Coco June brand, let me know. At Costco, they had the Coco June brand, which is supposed to be like a non-dairy coconut milk vanilla, but they also have other flavors. And I got like I guess that it's the plain flavor, and I got it at Costco, and it was like two 16-ounce containers. I got it, and I actually really liked it. I gave it, if you were watching my Instagram, I do think it probably could have been better in the sense that it was more, I felt like the consistency could have been thicker. It was not as creamy as I would have wanted it, but I did like it. So that was another thing I got. And then I also felt like, what was another thing? I know I got everything bagel seasoning, because I go through that pretty fast, especially when it comes to things like avocado toast. I really love it on avocado toast, as well as using it for things like vegetables. I actually brought some broccoli at the store yesterday because so another thing I got when I was at the grocery store at the beach, there's like a grocery store that like I can only find when I'm at the beach, and I really like it. It had, so there's this, like, I guess it's kind of like a Kraft mac and cheese or Annie's, but it is called Goodles, and I've always wanted to try it. And it like has the regular like dairy version, but I finally found the vegan one, and I was so excited. So I got it. My mom was kind of like, "What do you want this for?" And I got it so that I could finally try it. I was so thrilled. Now we're gonna cut up the tomatoes. I actually have some other tomatoes as well. And these I'm just gonna cut in half though. I need to go to CVS today. Hopefully I can go before it like starts raining or anything. But yeah, we should probably start cooking this. Alright. Just the tofu. We are back. I made the tofu scramble. I did forget to add the non-dairy milk, but you know what? That's okay. It's still gonna be good. I am super excited for this. I did decide to just get some sriracha. I actually don't have a lot of bread right now. I mostly just want to use my sandwich bread up so that it doesn't go bad. So I think we're gonna just stick with that. And I also am like not super hungry, and I actually want to run to CVS. So I think we're just gonna probably like stick with this because honestly, in like a few hours, I'm probably gonna want to have dinner and have lunch. So I personally love adding sriracha, and I actually had no idea that I was getting so low. So, and then of course I have some water. It might seem like not a lot, but honestly, it's good. I do think that adding the milk would have been like really good, but just forgot about it, and that happens sometimes. I'm just happy to have all the veggies and everything like that. So we're gonna have to do some cleaning up and definitely like try to get dressed, clean up a little bit, all that jazz. And then we'll get going for the day. Um, Woo! I love all these like peppers that I have outside. The peppers particularly that I have on this plant that is not actually planted in the ground. They are so hot. I have a couple of peppers that I think need to be picked, and I have to check that out today. If it's not gonna rain, it kind of looks like it might rain. I can't figure out if it's. I'm gonna have to check that out. I will see you guys around lunchtime or so. See you guys in a little bit. Bye. I am back from CVS and from just, also taking a shower because it's not so much humid as like the sun's not out and it just feels kind of icky. So I wanted to do like a haul video of basically books I got while I was at the beach, as well as books I got from the Thrift Books website. So first off, from the Thrift Books website, I actually have 2 more coming, but they are not arriving until they said January, not January, June 19th. And this one is Summer Fridays. It's supposed to be like 90s themed, and I really love like the idea of that, especially being someone who grew up in like the 90s and early 2000s. So I love that idea of being able to just kind of read, that type of themed book. And so I also love that I personally really love to find books where the main character is, her dream is becoming a writer, or either she is a writer. I personally, like, when I was a kid, I always thought, like, maybe one day I would get published. I just thought that, so I love reading books that the character is a writer. It just gives me, like, the feels and makes me think about when I was, really takes me back to, like, I still enter some local contests here and there, and I actually noticed that the library here actually has a writing group, so I think I'm going to try to start joining that. But I just love reading books where, like, the character is actually a writer or is hoping to get published, and so that really gives me all the feels. Then the books that I got got a lot of books, but I got Say You'll Remember Me. I actually, so far, I have read, I think, 3 of her books. I can't even remember which ones I read. I just know I read the one, there were 3 different ones that I read by her, and I really wanted to read this one because it sounded really good. I feel like I always, like, forget which one is Ali Hazelwood, and then there's Abby, and I feel like they're both, like, super popular right now. So I got this one, and I'm really excited to read it. This one, the main character is, like, he's a veterinarian, and he also, on the side, likes to kind of, it's like he's trying to win the girl, I guess. I don't remember everything about what, like, so I learned about this book through one of the booktubers that I like to watch, and so I'm not really sure, like, exactly what is going on in the book. I am just excited to read it because all of the books I've read by her so far, I really like it. And then, also, the book is called Island Books. It's like Island Bookstore or something like that. It's located in Corolla, Duck, and then Kitty Hawk, and I think it's like there's another one. It's one of those, like, it's like only in, like, the Outer Banks area. Like, it's really weird. This one, I think, it sounded super cute. It's called The Sandwich, or just Sandwich, and I'll be interested to read this one. Even so, I feel like I'm not gonna say her name right, but Eileen Hilderbrand, which I'm actually reading one of her books right now. I'm reading The 5-Star Weekend, which I said earlier, and she actually, it's so funny because she actually commented that if you like my novels, you will love, love, love this. And so I will be interested to see, like, how similar her books are. This book actually is also this one is in Cape Cod, and it's kind of like the whole family coming together, and it's just kind of about, like, learning about family history as well as, accepting secrets. Which I feel like that sounds so interesting. I love stories like that. So I'm excited for that. I also just wanted, I don't know why, but I really wanted more, like, summer books before it got to the end of summer, because I feel like a lot of the books I have right now are more, like, mystery themed, or either they're meant for fall, so I kind of had to, like, try to, like, restock on that. I have a couple of books that are more focused on writing in particular. Like, I have this one that's Dear Writer, and on the, like, under it says Pep Talks and Practical Advice for the Creative Life. It's by Maggie Smith, and I have never heard of this. I love looking in the poetry section when I go in bookstores because I like to write poetry. And so I really love just looking and kind of seeing like I thought there would be like more books like that were actually poetry related, where it was actual poets, like Sylvia Plath and Emily Dickinson and other poets. But I did really like learning about just, reading, it sounded really interesting, and like it would be helpful to see, like, 'cause what I liked is that I feel like right now in my life, I've been really stuck on like how to get the writer out of me. Like, I feel like that's kind of where I'm at in life. And so I liked being able to really, I like that this book sounded like a book that would really help me actually like pull that back out. So that's part of why I wanted to read it. And then this book is called Love and Sylvia Plath, which I also like. I love her poetry, and I've been wanting to read The Bell Jar forever. So I actually got that book as well. I thought more of her poetry books would be there, which were not. But The Bell Jar was there, and I was satisfied with that because that's been on my list forever, and I'm really excited to read that. And I have multiple classics that I'm a keep, like classics I always keep. I have Little Women, and I know I have some other poetry books, but I definitely, this particular Sylvia Plath book is more about like her like researching. So it says Sylvia Plath is an object of enduring cultural fascination, the troubled patron saint of confessional poetry, a writer whose genius is buried under the weight of her status as the quintessential literary sad girl. Emily Bain Dunn, a superfan and scholar, radically reimagined the last years of Plath's life, confronting her suicide and the construction of her legacy, drawn from decades of study on Plath and her husband. Ted Hughes, on the chief architect of Plath's mythology, the life and tragic suicide of Asiya, I'm not going to say this right, but Asiya Webel, whose mistress, newly available architect materials, and a deep understanding of intimate partner violence, Van Doon seeks to undo the silencing of Sylvia Plath and resurrect her as the hardworking, brilliant writer she was. I thought it sounded really interesting, and especially with her being one of my favorite poets. I definitely have poets who I'm not as I don't connect with as much, and then there's other poets who I find to be more interesting. So Edgar Allan Poe has a museum in Richmond, Virginia, and if you have not been, I highly recommend it. I have gone 2 or 3 times now because I've gone for a school event as well as 2 or 3 times just for with friends or for fun, and I love going. They even have a cat there called Poe. It's either Poe, the cat's called Poe or Edgar, but I love it. It's really because it's really fascinating to learn about their life. And a lot of times with poets, you learn there are things that you don't see in their poetry that are actually in, and you get to learn about that. And that's what I really love as well. And so that is what I got. I'm really excited to see how all these books are. I have some books that are for actual reading, whereas other books that I'm hoping will help me as a writer. And so we will see. I will see you guys in a little bit for lunch. Honestly, the sun's starting to come out, but it's been a dreary morning and I just kind of feel like chilling. And that is why I do not look all dressed up or anything. We are working on making lunch. I'm making a BLT. I'm trying to decide what I want to have with it. I wanted to real quickly go ahead and show you what I have been working on. I actually made homemade mayo. I followed a recipe where you can do cashew or tofu. I did tofu. I want to try it again, but do silken tofu because that's what the recipe called for, but I just used extra firm, so we're going to do that next time, or either just do cashews. So that is what's going on right now. I'm trying to decide what I want to do for like the meal, like, to go with it, but we'll figure that out. I'm watching like a documentary right now, and I don't know, it's a pretty like chilled day. I'm just really, I'm doing laundry too, so it's like I'm doing things. I'm just kind of like I'm doing the things that I meant to do yesterday, that sort of thing. Here is the tofu. I'm gonna just mix it up real quick. I had my boyfriend look at it, and he said it looked fine, so we're gonna just put some on. So here's what it looks like. It's not like perfect. It doesn't look like regular mayo. I want to try again so that I can see if I can get it more like regular mayo. But I love that it doesn't have all that like extra junk in it. I'm gonna finish up and go ahead and eat. Hey guys, editing me here. I just realized that I did not do an outro for the video, and I wanted to make sure to include my like review of things that I have eaten since I talked about them. I did have the mac and cheese. I have leftover of it, and it's good. I definitely like it. I think it's better than Annie's. I personally just don't like that. I just feel like for me, like all the vegan like boxes of mac and cheese that I've tried so far have just tasted like Kraft. And I personally am not a Kraft girl. I stopped liking Kraft mac and cheese so long ago. I am definitely I want mac and cheese from scratch. So I just like that sometimes, you just don't want to cook, an extravagant meal, and sometimes mac and cheese, like a lot of the recipes that I see for mac and cheese vegan are really extravagant. Honestly, even making mac and cheese that isn't vegan seems so like you gotta do this and you gotta do that and you gotta do that. And so that's part of why I was excited to try it. And then the hippias I also ate. I ate so many of them last night. I was watching this movie and I just got like so like, ooh, I want food, and I half the bag is already gone, which is saying something because I've never had the tripping cheese before, but man, they're so good. And so I highly recommend the hippias, but just keep an eye because to me they're like my Cheetos, so I kind of stay away from them most of the time. But I was so excited to try a flavor I hadn't had before. But man, they are like one of those snacks that like it's almost better for me to just not eat them. But I just wanted to kind of make sure to give you a review of those things as well. And I will see you guys next time. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye!